Specialist Krebs, your Talaxian furfly is now missing. It was last seen entering a science lab replicator.
It's been 800 years, 300 nights, and, well, 7 days since we last reviewed Starfleet Academy. I'm your host, Worldmind. It is Thursday, March 5th, 2026, and we are here to review Episode 9 of Starfleet Academy, 300th night. And I'm not alone. I got some guests with me here. We've got some regulars, and we've got some returns. We've got with us, top of the charts, the wonderful and always insightful Ashley Millard. How are you today, Ashley?
I'm good. I'm excited to talk about this episode.
Yes, I'm excited to get your thoughts on this episode and your roundabout thoughts on the series. You're here for the early parts. We missed you through the middle, but maybe we can get a little update on what you thought about that later on. But to round up the cast, coming in with I guess you could say a foggy view of this season, but hopefully he found some clarity in this new episode. Adam Woodward, welcome to the round table.
How are you? Glad to be back. Episode 9 are we at now? 9. One more to go.
Ultimate. One more to go.
It was okay. It was.
Not even Frakes could win him over, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if we can pan him out. And back for another round at the table, we have the wonderful Allison. Allison, welcome to
Thanks for having me.
Starfleet Academy. What are your thoughts quickly? We'll start with you. What are your thoughts quickly on this episode 9?
I enjoyed it. The last ones, I missed last week's podcast, but last week's I found was very slow, and I know it was an emotional, and people thought it was either wonderful or very boring, but this episode I thought was entertaining and fun to ride along with, and we finally got off the school ship.
Finally, yes, indeed. We also got Sam Higdon in the chat. Hey guys, welcome to the chat, Sam. If you got thoughts, comments about this episode, please let us know in the comments. Adam, we'll come to you. What were your general quick thoughts on this episode of Starfleet Academy?
Well, I was expecting a better episode than the last two for sure, but it started off a little slow for me. Like, I don't know about you guys, but it was a up to the opening credits, that was a little bit draggy. The school party, blah blah blah. But it did get interesting for sure. As soon as that Caleb was opening his mother's notes, something was going to happen. And, he's off to see the Admiral. I mean, we'll get there during the screenshots, but, it became very predictable, but interesting who went with him on the shuttle. I did love that sequence, actually, that I'm going to steal the shuttle and everybody's coming with me. No, you're not, but yes, you are. It was actually fun, but I don't like his mom. Like, I
she's a little. To be fair, she's a little traumatized. So we'll expand upon that. Ashley, what were your quick thoughts on this episode?
I really like this episode. It gave me a little bit of Lower Decks in there with when they're stealing the shuttle. It reminded me a little bit of Lower Decks. When they're on the planet, it reminded me a lot of Discovery and a little bit of Deep Space Nine. So it gave me a little bit of nostalgic Star Trek feel to it, and I really enjoyed it.
Awesome. EJR87R says this episode was very formaic and predictable. And you know what? Both hands of that. I think that's what made this the most Star Trek episode, was because it was a little formulaic and predictable. It really felt like the most Star Trek episode. I agree. When I was watching this episode, I thought to myself, oh, finally, this is an actual Star Trek episode. It took like 9 episodes to get here, but we're really showing that Star Trek flex, if you will, as Sam said. I enjoyed this episode. My quick thoughts are I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. I think this is the best one of the season so far. So I'm gonna have a ton of praise for this episode, and I'm sure when we get to the scores, we'll find that what our host Dave Mader thought of this episode. Perhaps I should discuss the parameters of the intro. It said hosted by Dave Mader, featuring Worldmind, but the way this season's been going, I've kind of been the host of this show, so I don't know. We'll see where that goes. But you guys, let's not wait any further. Let's crack into these screenshots. So cold open. We start off. It's year's end, and we know that's the 300th night, the year-end celebration. 300 days of education for our dear cadets, and it's basically a party in the hallways. We got Genesis taking, Darum and Sam all down the hallway. And we get the, captain's log from Chancellor Aki. Jeez, it's already sort of escapes me, is what she was saying here. I watched this episode like hours and hours ago. And
they're going into Beta Z because,
right,
they were joining the Federation essentially, and all the ships were there to celebrate.
Yeah, they're doing like a celebration for this seat that they've given them on the Federation board or whatever.
Yeah, it's basically like Celebration Day, is it like when they had that one big Star Trek day in Picard or whatever. During this, we get introduced to is this Klingon tea ceremony, I guess you could say, but it's like alcoholic tea, so I don't know.
He's turning into a very good Worf character. He's doing the ceremonial stuff, and I like this. This is, he's got no family. This is nice. It was welcoming, his crewmates into his family. This was a good scene too. Actually, quite liked it.
Yeah, this was like a fun scene. He was like doing the ritual. Of course, the mention of family makes like Caleb a little like, oh, family, that's my hot topic button.
Yeah, but everybody in this crew here has issues. Like, and this is another thing. It's like he talks about it all being about Genesis. It's all about him later on.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a little self-centered in this manner. He can't seem to like get past this hump, and he like immediately leaves after everyone willingly says the words and drinks the soup, alcohol soup. I don't know. Everyone seems kind of shocked by his mannerisms, but if you've been watching this show all season, you as a viewer is not. And then we get this sort of like thick awkward tension scene between him and Tarima in the elevator. He's basically explains to the degree, it's like, we haven't really talked much, and she's like, well, it's not like we haven't seen each other naked, and you watch me blow people's brains out with my own brain, so it's hard to broach. And he just kind of like takes that dejected lover's feeling, I guess you could say. And this is a bit of a drag, but then we get the whole quorum between the chancellors and Admiral Vance, where he explains that New Sparaka had actually, what he had stolen was this particle 38 sort of thing, Omega 37, 38.
Omega 47.
Okay, Omega 47.
47.
You got to have a 47 reference in there if it's Star Trek.
Yeah. So the Omega 47, it's basically a synthesized version of the Omega particle, and of course, New Sparaka has managed to weaponize it into an interdimensional, like, mine. They're all triggered, and he can do this wherever he wants. So this triggers naturally all the Starfleet to gather their eggs in one basket. During this, Caleb's feeling all sorry for himself, and Sam pops in and gives him a little scare. And he's like, being like, I can't figure out why I haven't been able to call my mom. And she's like, have you thought about something simple? And he's like, well, what about that moon in Shawnee, which apparently he hasn't thought of in 22 years. And oh, look at that. He's got 2 years of messages from his mom. That's your cold open. So, Adam, you said you felt like this dragged. Allison, how did you feel about the cold open?
I thought it was a good melding of the characters. I felt like it was finally coming together, like storylines were coming together. The how the characters were building up to become were finally becoming.
Mm-hmm. I don't know about you guys, but I was sort of enjoying the more maturity aspect of what Sam's character's bringing in now that they've combined.
I do like that. I think I may have been a little harsh on it, actually, looking back, because I did like parts of it. Didn't like the elevator scene. Did like the bonding scene in Caleb, not Caleb, Kalen. What's his name? Thank you. Jaden's room. Yeah, so it wasn't all bad, and I didn't mind the whole Sam, like the Sam maturity scene, because I do like her now. Actually, I find her much more interesting this way.
Right. So this one's a teleplay by Kirsten Bear, story by Kirsten Bear and Kenneth Lynn, and directed by the legend himself, Jonathan Frakes. So we jump back in the episode. He's listening to messages from his mom. I want to say Alicia, but that's not it. It's like Aisha or something to that degree. And then he finds out that she's been on the planet of Ukek, and he finds out that there is, as it says here, a Venari invasion about to annex the planet, and he's got like a day to get there. But he doesn't have enough time to wait for Sam to formulate a message, so he says, screw it, and he goes to say his piece to the chancellors, but he finds out that, everyone's gathering in Beta Z, and also gathering with us is the one Jaemeel Robinson. Hello, sir. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Hope everyone's doing well.
Indeed, it's a surprise.
Yes,
to have you here.
yes, we
Glad to
are.
have you. We were just getting into it. Caleb proceeds to decide, I can't tell the Chancellor, so I'm just going to steal a ship, get the old shuttle bay. And he runs into Tarima, and he says, her name reminds him of a song, and he just appreciates the song. It's a really sweet line he says to her and all this stuff, but it's very final goodbye sort of stuff, These are uneasy, obviously. The ship is on their way through warp towards Beta Z, and that's where Caleb hops into a shuttle bay. He starts hacking it, and then Sam pops up and he's like, you're not going to basically sneak off a ship, fly out of a warp bubble, and then manage to keep that ship together. You're gonna end up vaporized unless you get someone like me that can calculate all this high-end travel. While they're having this discussion, Genesis pops in and she's like, yeah, his mom called him. He found out and he's gonna go save his mom. She's like, well, you can't do that. This is where the episode started picking up for me. Also, I love this sort of fall in where Darum's just drunk. And he's like, I have trouble. I don't have the enzymes to synthesize alcohol. I was like, yeah, I thought it was bananas. We don't have a lot of enzymes. I really like the character of Darum. He's probably one of my favorites.
Me too. And this is the third time in 9 episodes we've had a drunk cadet, and he did it the best. He was actually funny.
He did. He was very funny. But yeah, he says he's fine. He's all right. And he goes and takes a nap in the seat. They start, powering up the shuttle. And Genesis is like, you can't do this without letting people know. He's like, I got to go. She tries to go. Sam locks her in. She's like, you didn't lock me in. She's like, you can't tell anybody, and I can't have you tell anybody. So we're just gonna go. We gotta hop in this. We gotta hop out of a warp tunnel, because Sam knows all things, and they just happen to be passing past a warp conduit. So yeah, Darren's like, "Are we stealing? Are we kidnapping Genesis?" And he thinks it's hilarious, and this is really funny. And it's like this is a pretty neat graphic where they're just like popping out of this warp bubble, and then they like drift into space. And for me personally, there's not enough just casual space shots. We're always stuck in warp drive or warp bubbles and these like Star Wars-esque sort of like things. But this was a cool shot of the shuttle hitting a warp
Hey,
conduit.
before we go on, like, can we just go back to that the kidnapping scene? Like, so you had Genesis who wants to get off. Like, she knows she's going to get in shit for this, right? And then Caleb, who just locks her in. Like, he's too late now, or you're coming. And
Well, it was Sam that locked her in, but yeah.
She wanted to go and tell.
Yeah,
she was gonna tell.
but again, it comes that's that pretty harsh scene later on where he's talking about how selfish she is. But he's up there too. Like, again, I just keep seeing this reference that Caleb.
Yes.
Yeah. I think everyone's well aware.
Everything that he says to them, they could say back to him and be factual. Like, he's just turning on them for everything he hates about himself.
Yeah, which Sam recognizes, and that's why Sam realizes the whole point of that whole sequence was for him to separate himself, to make it easier for him. And she's like, "No, I'm not going to let you get off that easy."
EJ says, okay, the shuttle scene is one of the funniest scenes because the writers had a legit reason for Sam to be there, but said screw it for Genesis and Darren. Yeah, completely. So yeah,
and we didn't talk about the puking up the little crystal.
It hasn't happened yet.
We're getting there.
It hasn't happened yet. Okay.
Yeah, technically that happens as they're like they're heading out of the exit of this. We get this nice little transition of sort of planetary detail scam Beta Z, but also like there's like a past the shuttle bay, because I guess all the students are being sent to the shuttle bay because they're offloading on the ship because they're going to gather Beta Z. But that's when Jaden finds the pad that Caleb left behind. Why he would leave it behind, I don't know, but he did. And these two figure out, oh shit, they're on a rogue away mission.
Hey, sorry, can you guys hear Chris?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry,
I might be quiet.
I might be a little.
It's
quiet,
just a
sorry,
silky voice. It just.
I hear you guys so well, Chris. Just a little bit closer, I guess.
Okay, I'll try and I'll sort this out on my end. So yeah, these guys basically come down to the exit of this warp corridor. During that, they lose some components. They think it's in a cell. They're like, why would we need two nacelles? It's like, if we don't, we're gonna spin out of control. Naturally, that's what they do. They're all spinning out of control as they head to the UKEC mission. They eventually, settle down. Sam's like, oh, we only just lost like this one piece. We're okay. And you guys okay? And Caleb with a solemn sort of, yeah. And then this is where Darren's like, I'm fine. And vomits the glitter.
To which, wouldn't anyone who's nearby and has any understanding of different races go, oh, he's from blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Because there's not too many.
We also during the scene, this is a clip I cut, but yeah.
Great, glitter vomit. We'll sober up now.
It is all over my trousers.
Gross.
It is all over my trousers.
I don't know why he's so upset about that, though. He can just brush it off.
I mean, it's pretty hard to get glitter off. Maybe, I don't know.
Glitter sticks around.
So yeah, Aki's in the office with Jet Reno. They're talking. I forget what this conversation was briefly about, but anybody? Adam?
All I remember is they see the kids and they're like, "You all look guilty."
Yeah, you two look very guilty. And then, yeah, snap back to UKEC. They don't spend too much time on the ship. A lot of this episode is on this like gorgeous planet with this wonderful set pieces and stuff like that.
Are you only saying it's gorgeous because you're so tired of all the ship shots and the atrium shots? You're like
Yeah.
so desperate for anything market.
For some set design that doesn't look like like a Apple shopping mall, like yeah, anything at all, please.
But
I'm
it's
so-
also so nice when we get non-Federation set design too. Like the Federation stuff is great and I love it, but it's always like bright and neat and very, everything in its place. It's always nice to get these planets where things are like this. Like it's very Star Trek 5. I love it.
They're all like this though. All the crappy places are always like dark and dirty and
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they would be like it
Yes.
just shows that contrast of the Federation world where we're so used to seeing the Federation and everything outside of that is not all bright and shiny and positive.
Mhm. Which
Yeah.
makes the later scene where the investigation of the cadets and how they're doing easily point them out as something that does not belong on UDAC.
Yeah. As they like pass through this market, there's the whole scene where they're like passing by a woman being beaten by assumedly a landlord, scumlord, because money is owed and they can't intervene because it would cause a scene. So they're just trying to pass through. At one point they have to
sizzling food.
always he gets some nice octopus leg potentially, stuff like that. But yeah, Darum and Genesis are like, we need to go find parts to fix the shuttle. You guys go find Caleb's mom. Actually, Caleb just kind of goes on his own. It doesn't really say where or what happens to Sam here.
They said the two separated to go look for parts, and I assume Sam also went with them. But
Yeah.
Genesis also says that she's not stupid. She wiped the registry and all evidence of it being a Federation ship, which I find extremely hard to believe, especially in a short period of time, to do such a thing. And I'm glad that it gets followed up later on, that it's like, no, they figured out it was a Federation ship.
Yeah.
We get a comment here from EJ. He says, so it was supposed to take 30 hours for them to get to the planet, but Sam figured out a way to get there faster. They said they probably used transwarp, but why didn't the Athena use transwarp?
Oh, it was closing. That tunnel was closing.
Yeah.
They had
Okay,
to
so
remember
it's
that was the reason they had to rush off.
That's why
the
they
ship.
had to go then. Yeah.
Yeah.
He also says all the new Trek have at least shown a planet like this, and at least 10 times. Also, everybody's always covering their faces. Yeah, it's got this very Dune aspect to it, but yeah, this is Star Trek Speranza. So Aki is basically breaking it to Vance that the kids, ran off, and she's, just gonna do what she's, not gonna do anything about it. And he's like, "Don't bullshit a bullshitter. I know you're gonna go after the kids. Just go do it, but don't tell me, or I don't expect any calls from me if you go too far beyond a certain point. It's like not Federation territory." Meanwhile, all the ships are going back. The doc comes in. He's like, "Why haven't we left? Sam's with them. Why haven't we left yet?" Showing his connection and his growth to Sam's character.
Yeah.
Now, this is
I
the
love
point
seeing
where they should
protective
have.
dad.
Yeah. This is the point where they should have said, Vance is like, I'm going to send someone special to help you. And that's where, Lieutenant Chan shows up and joins the cast officially. But unfortunately, bad decision. They didn't decide to do that.
Yeah, we can talk about some decisions and stuff like that at the end of the episode. But so yeah, we get Caleb just wandering through. He's like using his like deep connection mom sense powers, walking through a market, thinking he'll find his mom through any of these shrouded ladies, and all of a sudden we start getting subtitles. So naturally, he spots the subtitles and starts to follow them. This is the part we agreed on, but it's the one I found, and it's rare Bahama Tech. He's like, "Where are these subtitles coming from?" And he looks deeper. He's like, Bahama Tech, 60 pieces. What was old and broken, not worth more than time. Then he proceeds to walk past. Looks like I would say Romulan or Vulcan trader, doing doing typical pawn shop things, trying to barter for far less than what something's worth. 20, 60. I'll take my business elsewhere. Your loss. And then we get more market, same hallway. Caleb is looking very serious. He does a spinny-roo, and then Mom puts a knife to his throat. A curly one at that.
That was a very...
My question is...
very easily found, the mom.
Yeah, all things considered. She was just standing there in the market, and he found her all too easy. Not even like a bit of a... What's her biosignature or something?
Yeah,
like just
there
she is.
They explained this.
How?
She said she can feel that he was still alive. So she has feeling powers.
Oh, that was not the way it is. That's a bad explanation.
Are you saying that she's got the Force?
Crossover.
She has the Trek Force, yes.
Oh man, I don't like that at all. This is the bad part of the episode. It was too easy.
It's too easy. Yeah, she basically threatens Caleb.
What was he doing to her? Why was he creeping her out that she would bring a knife on the guy?
Well, I mean, you gotta assume she's like hard PTSD, and anybody that follows her is probably trying to kidnap her or kill her.
He wasn't following.
He was though. He totally was. He was following her from the moment she was selling the goods.
The issue with this whole sequence, and Adam, I think this is where there should have been something that, like, in all storytelling, the mother does something like, I don't know, like she holds up her hands differently, a weird way, and it clues him in, right? And that could be the reason why.
The sound of her voice.
But he heard her voice. I don't know about you, but if my mom's talking in a market, I can hear her and follow the sound of her voice.
He hasn't seen her since he was like 4.
He's been obsessed with her since then, and he just sat and listened to 2 years of her messages. He knows her voice. I don't
get through 2 years.
Ashley, you're right. Well, I concede.
But he's been listening to her messages for the last at least day and a half. Like, and
just think about the trauma memory he's had on repeat in his brain for 20 some odd years.
You know what?
Like that too.
It's a good explanation. Let's leave it there. Good enough.
Point to
so yeah, she's got the whole knife to a certain shit, and then he's like, "Mom," and she's like, "Caleb, Mom, Caleb," and they just go into a trauma loop for a second and hug each other, and it's a sweet moment. I ain't gonna say I didn't tear up a little at it. We get a fade to black, and then cut to scene, and these two are in the interior of what would appear to be some type of like mechanic shop. I don't know if it's her shop or if it's just a space they found. Yeah, that would make sense if it was hers. So yeah, basically he's just like, what have you been, how did you get so tall? Why do you got the scar? He's like, 2 guys tried, and he didn't finish the sentence, and she kind of like breaks down and apologizes for not being there, and they're just having their big trauma bond about, being torn apart a family because space
Ohana
seems like a
family.
Cruel, harsh place. Ohana means family, and they are Ohana. And then while they're having this moment, Sam again does her little bloop and pops in, and then She-Hulk grabs the gun and points for the aim, and then Caleb's like, no, hang on, wait, this is my friend. And these are also my friends. And she's like, where did you get friends from? He's like, all over. He has this like clear hesitation to tell his Starfleet hating mother that he's all of a sudden a part of Starfleet.
But if he came clean, they would have had a little bit more time to maneuver.
Yeah. If he came clean, they would have definitely had a bit more time to maneuver. But she probably would have had a very visceral reaction and may not have been so willing to help as she was when they were like, we needed parts, just here for parts. And she's like, okay. And I was thinking at this point, I'm like, she's way too smart not to put it together that these are like Federation parts. If she's this familiar with like engineering and repairing and stuff like that, like she should know that these are Federation parts. You kids are too young. But she also asked them to check their nails, and like their nails are clean and they're too well nourished. What is going on here? And yeah, EJ's like, I do like them that are being constantly suspicious and jumpy. Well,
To be fair, we're talking
be
about
fair.
like the kids looking well nourished. Caleb like
Is a
is
monster.
Giant.
jacked monster.
And he was not a part of Starfleet prior to being a jacked monster.
Yes.
That's right.
You got a haircut.
He was eating his fair share of targ. So yeah, these okay. So there was a moment. It was all prior to this, but there was a moment where it was after Aki had told Vance what was going to happen, and then Vance is like, "Fine, take the ship and go." And then Rena goes, "Oh, I can test the automated bridge systems." And I personally had an audible "Oh, F off." I was very like, I was dismayed by that line because it's just meant we'd have had yet another episode where there's no bridge crew. And the previous episodes I could forgive, but I felt like this time it like a bridge crew could have been had here for this whole episode.
But they would have to agree, though.
They would
Yeah,
have to
like they're
agree.
Yeah, they're going against Federation here. So how many Starfleet officers are we going to get saying yes to a mission like this?
I mean, enough to like run a bridge. I'm sure you can be like, "Hey, listen, this is a chance you can leave." And then, I mean, how many times have you had that scene before, though, right? Like,
Oh yeah,
Murphy,
yeah.
if only there were like, teachers that we've seen throughout the season that had like a vested interest in the students to have that conflict and go, you know what, for these kids, I will disobey Starfleet,
I mean,
Huh.
if only we've seen a teacher who has disobeyed Starfleet in the past, like Dax.
Who's Dax?
Yeah, Dax could have been here for this. Man,
Laura should
we
be
could
there
have.
for
And
that.
this mission
Where's
is
Laura?
right up Dax's alley.
Yeah, this would have been a great Dax episode, but it appears like Dax showed up like a Royal Rumble appearance and just has had no further booking for the rest of the season.
But
Dax
Laura's
aka
not here
Royce
either.
Keys.
Laura hasn't been in 2 episodes now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Laura
she-
hasn't been here.
Kevin and I were saying that too. That like, why wouldn't they take the warrior?
Yeah, Laura talk. Could it's just there needs to be more teachers, not just what appears to be like these 3 now.
Also, I want to take this time at this point when they talk about the Omega 47. I cannot believe that they didn't think that it was going to be used for what it ultimately was used for. Like,
Yeah.
to me, it seemed like the most obvious thing in the world.
Yeah.
So that's a fantastic point, because at the end of this episode, when we see what happens, and I won't get there until we get there, but the one thing that surprised me is that it's like preparing for the Borg. You know something bad's going to happen, and you didn't do enough again. Like, it's like Federation or Starfleet, they just don't get ready enough.
Yeah, that's the thing about Starfleet. When your entire Federation is completely conscripted with largely and arguably people with various forms of ADHD and autism, they generally wait until the last minute to do something. So it kind of falls within those purviews. And falling within the scanners were a few of these 47 minds, but they're so far apart that Aki was like, "What's going on? This is super suspicious. We'll come to this MacGuffin later." They've come to realize, I think this is where they find out there's 2 biosignatures hanging out in an airlock, and the doctor sniffs them out and beams them aboard, and of course it's Jaden and Tarima, to, the Chancellor's surprise, and everyone else is like, what are you 2 doing here? she's like, wait, first of all, how did you even hide your biosignatures? That, you know, and Tarima's like, well, if you increase the pressure by a couple degrees, it just hides all bio life. And she's like, that is a design flaw. And then Jaden's like, oh, he's my friend. I am here to help. And she's like, listen, that's great and sweet, but now I have 2 extra lives to worry about. You two go hide. And this is where the doctor's like, put him in the brig. And he's like, it's hide in my office, and I'll talk to you later.
So can we take a second to talk about Tarima?
Sure.
And her brother.
Okay. Yeah, where's Occam?
Who cares?
He's on babysit.
I wish we had more of him than her.
Yeah, but
I do like Occam.
How? You've never seen him in a long time. Like,
the brief moments we've had with him have been a treat, and I could use more.
So, all right, why is she still around? Like, do you guys feel anything that this whole relationship with her and Caleb, the on and off again? I don't like that at all. I just don't know her purpose in this show. She had one thing. She killed people. And
what? Okay.
Like, you know, she played a role then. But now she's just confusing Caleb, and she doesn't really do anything.
So, in Dawson's Creek, season 2.
Okay, all right. Never mind. You lost me right there.
All right. There was a character
Okay. Wait. No. You got to go back further. So, in the comic book Archie, there's these 2 characters, Betty and Veronica.
Well, who's Veronica?
Genesis.
Veronica.
No, she's Veronica. Genesis is Betty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I like Genesis.
See?
Me too, and I always liked Betty better.
There you go.
So, that's basically Tarima's purpose. She's the Veronica to Caleb's Archie. I personally was always a Veronica fan, and I personally like Tarima and Caleb together. I think they're a nice little couple. I think they have a cute dynamic. Well, they could be. They've been together. They've hooked up.
My problem with Tarima is, and I don't know if it's on purpose, and it's the way she's acting because she has like the thing that's trying to keep. She's flat. Like there's nothing. There's nothing that, like, every time she has a scene, she says lines. I'm just like, she's boring. Like, she's just plain yogurt. Like, just boring.
So okay,
she is cranberry sauce.
You know what's funny is that the transition of Sam's character, right? They purposely had that previous episode with Sam where she was seen very juvenile and everything like that, and now we have new Sam, right? And it's great. New Sam is I'm enjoying new Sam, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sam feels like a character, and I'm like, wait, are we gonna go through this entire thing again with Tarima, where there's this Tarima, and then there's gonna be like, oh, but Tarima that doesn't suck in like second season. She has an episode and now becomes a character that we cannot stand. You don't do that with 2 characters.
Maybe give her a new thing on the neck, her so that she at least expresses some emotion or feels some. I don't know, but she just feels emotionless.
Exactly. That's what I'd like to see happen here, and I'd like to see her actually die in this somehow, and Caleb feel all guilty because he, you know, and even though he didn't do it, and like, because it'll happen, but you know, and his mother be responsible. Maybe that'd be great.
Yep, that's typically it.
Allison, what are your thoughts on Tarima and Caleb?
Isn't she in the stills for season 2?
Probably, yeah.
She's gonna be all right. Yeah,
she's in.
We'll
season
talk
2.
about season 2.
So
Allison, what are your thoughts on Tarima and Caleb?
Well, yeah, the dynamic is kind of annoying, but I find it's a difference after her new whatever they put in her neck. So I'm wondering if that is on purpose, because she was funny and engaging before she exploded heads. But
well, you mean murdering mass?
I didn't find her that either.
No.
No.
I thought I agree. I thought she was a bit engaging before the head popping experience when she went Pumpkinhead on everybody. But like,
how was she engaging? She was flirty with Caleb. That was her role.
That wasn't entirely it. She was also like, she balanced out her like brother and stuff like that, and there was
What brother?
more
We
than
only
just
saw
being
him a
flirt.
couple times. Like, there's nothing there. These two are useless.
No, I think these two, honestly, if they want to, if they really want to take the time and find some balance with Tarima's character, I think Jaden, the warrior pacifist, would be a perfect person for her to like bond with, right? And we see more Klingon culture, um, and it interacting with Beta Z culture. I think that would be interesting. It wouldn't be in a romantic sense, obviously, but it would at least
Mhm.
be something that it keeps her away from Mir, at least, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be an interesting dynamic to pursue.
Yeah, a culture that's entirely based on empathy with a culture that's entirely not based around empathy at all, where they could trade a few interesting tidbits. I do like the idea. Um,
That's
we
why I'm
have a
not in the
comment
writer's
from
room.
EJ. We have a comment from EJ. I don't like Tamira, but I don't want them to fridge her, and I agree. I
I
don't want
feel
them to
like they
fridge her
are. I
either.
feel like they're going to.
I do too.
I I kind of had that feeling at first when I first started watching it. Now I just don't want it to happen. I actually do enjoy her character to a degree. Like, I don't know. I don't read her as flat. I read her as held back. I read her as like not totally showing her true self, much like a Jean Grey in many forms. It's been said a few times over. That's how I
One
view
time.
her character.
One time. It's been
But
said.
yeah, that's the end of these characters for the episode. They get
When
put in
she
the
when she
box.
actually did something, Chris, is when you said that. That's the only time you said that.
Yeah, but okay. Alright. Well, anyway. Um,
Maybe for me, I just find that maybe she doesn't have the acting skills to portray that properly on screen. And that's why I'm like, is this a purposeful character choice, or is she just not a great actor? And I feel bad saying that, but she's driven me crazy since the very first episode.
Yeah, she can't even take in the proper what do you call them? Eye things,
Contacts.
contacts to make her eyes.
She always looks like she's holding back a giggle. Like she can't get through the scene without breaking. Do you know what I mean? Like there's just
Okay, so we've now picked our least favorite episode or actor in this show that we want to die.
All right. Well,
I don't necessarily want her to die. I just want it to be better, I guess.
Or,
Yeah.
well,
that seems like a consensus from Adam so far. All right. So these guys. So basically, we've got the doctor, we've got Reno, and we've got the captain leading the ship towards UKEC. We'd snap back to what was her name again? Aisha. Damn it! It's gonna bug me.
So, do you know who that is? Who's playing her? I just looked this up.
Tatiana
Maslany.
Tatiana.
It's She-Hulk.
Orphan Black.
Yeah, She-Hulk. Yeah, Orphan Black.
And She-Hulk, yes.
But yeah, she's here fixing the kids.
Relay.
Oh, I forget what it was called. It was like a tri-flux capacitor. We'll say that. We'll just go with that. While this scene's going down, you get this sort of like back and forth between Caleb and his mom, and it shows her like, "Are you still as smart as I remember you?" I'm like, how smart could he be? He was 6 years old. And these two have a rapport like they've spent the past 10 years fixing cars together. They're like, oh, you gotta, balance out your, quasars to your minutia of -6, and it's like, this one moment he sort of starts to build it, and then he fails, and she's like, okay, here, you take the pad and let mommy show you. And he's like, okay. And the kids are like watching, like, what's going on? She builds the triflux capacitor with a lot of ease, and they have this sort of like, you get where Caleb gets his smarts from, but it's just so
So this scene, I have said from the very beginning that I believe that she's a villain, and that if she's not Braca's boss, that she will be. And this scene kind of solidifies that for me. If she is so freaking smart, how are we supposed to believe that he pulled one over on her? That she didn't realize what was going on. She shouldn't go to prison. She's just this innocent girl who was tricked by this man. But she's this smart? I don't believe it.
I concur. There is another sleeve up this mom's, another card up this mom's sleeve, so to speak. Yeah, I think that will be a huge reveal, and it will test Caleb and see if he'll fall full fleet, or if he'll just fall apart. We get to what was the scene briefly about? I think they were talking about anybody. Does anyone remember what the scene was briefly about?
What they were testing the. Sorry.
They were trying to find the kids on the planet.
Well, they were doing the sensors, right? They were pulling the sensors. They go to the planet, and then they realize that they can't transport. So have they gone to the planet yet?
Space here.
So they decide they're gonna go make a break for it and go for UDEC. So I think that's what this scene is.
Yeah, I remember basically at the end of the line, Reno was like, "See you guys in the brig then," or something like that degree.
Yeah.
So yeah, they fixed the repair, and just as they're putting this all together, it's announced over the comm that man, I am sorry, I'm having a hard time with names today.
The Verai?
Yeah, the Volmagoo or whatever.
Volmagoo is taking over. It's going to be under their protection.
They got an hour before everybody leaves. If you're not a part of this planet, then you gotta go. So she's like, okay, I'm gonna go get us 2 seats on my buddy's container ship. You sit right here. I'll be right back. Caleb's like, yeah, 2 seats.
And your friend's gonna scram.
Yeah, you guys gotta go. And they're like, that didn't seem like it was part of the plan. He's like, what plan? I never told you what the plan was, because he didn't even know what the plan was, to be fair. And they're all like, aren't you going to come back with us? What about Jaden's ritual? He's like, it was just a silly ritual. And Darum gives this great line read where he's just like, to him it wasn't. He just like, he really rips into him. It was a really good line. I liked it. Makes me like Darum more. And yeah, basically Caleb's like tries to come to reconcile with like, he's had a gun pointed at his head his entire life. He's had to either choose prison or the Federation. Now he doesn't have a gun pointed to his head, so he gets to choose his mom, and that's what he's going to do. And then he just sort of starts ripping into the clown prince that is Darum and saying that he's a mirror to like everything that he stands for, and he's essentially a hypocrite. And then he goes to Genesis and says that she's selfish and she needs to stop trying to impress her Admiral father and just save the guy some time because she's going to fail. And then he says Sam, and she just looks at him and like runs at him and hits him so hard in the chest with a hug that I felt it, and it got my emotions, and it made me tear up. And I was like, okay, I really like Sam. I really like Sam a lot.
Sam 2.0?
Sam 2.0 is amazing. And she says he's so full of shit. And even now it makes me like, I love it. And Genesis is like, he's the smartest guy in the room, and that's what he tells himself. And while most guys at his age are getting them life together, he's too scared being the broken, scared kid. And that's what he's going to do. And then they all just sort of separate their ways. And he's sort of left mulling that over. Well, these guys are carrying a box full of illegal Starfleet gear. Through the market. That's when they're like, hey, the shuttle won't beam us up. Why won't it work? Like, I don't know. It was working a minute ago. And then you hear some guy like, hey, do you guys hear that? The signal, the transporter beam signal's over here. And then they get completely surrounded by, a bunch of shadowed baddies. Wait, This is a bit of a jump scene ahead. Yeah, okay. So my slides got all mixed up. Great. Anyway, well, they get like locked up and stuff.
Or
What
questioned.
happened here?
They
Yeah.
get questioned, and then obviously there's a confrontation between Caleb and his mom, right? And
Yeah,
Caleb
there's a
runs
whole like
off.
he's like, don't leave the kids behind, they'll be fine. He's like, I can't do it, mom,
They're the
I
Federation
gotta do
people.
it. They're the Federation.
Because I think at that
Um
point she said, "What are they going to do to them?" Remember, he says, "What are they going to do to them?" And well, they're going to execute them. And then
Yeah.
she sort of clicks in that they're the Federation people, or that was referenced, and off he goes.
Sorry, my slides got real messed up here. So yeah, basically, that's when they start getting interrogated. And they're like, why do you have all this gear? Nobody finds the truth. And then mom comes in and saves the day. She's like, oh, I saw them at the port. They didn't buy for it. And then there's like this whole laser fight.
Pew
You know.
pew.
So, interestingly enough, this whole fight started because the one girl recognized mom, and before she could say who she was, she shot her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shot
So
her
again,
quickly.
And why would somebody in the Venari Rawl recognize this woman who was supposed to just be this random woman that Bracco was taking advantage of and went to prison and supposedly died 2 years ago escaping from prison? Why would she be recognized, and why wouldn't she want her saying her name?
Yep.
There's something up with mom.
Hmm.
A whole lot of sinister cluage. And
Yeah.
Ashley is on the trail. Mom gets shot.
You were so right. You were so right.
Yeah.
She's going to take
Yeah.
over the saucer section next week, and Caleb's going to be like torn.
Caleb is going to have to choose between mom and Starfleet.
Yep.
It's gonna be
And that's what
Voyager
all of
over
his whining about all season is going to lead to. That all of his being sad about his mom and not liking the academy and not
Ashley,
what
is there going to be a montage when Caleb has to make a decision where it looks back at all the fun times he had?
I fucking hope so. I love a montage. And I can't wait to hear Kevin's reaction when the montage starts.
Oh my gosh. You have to put that like somewhere. I fucking hope so. That was awesome.
So yeah, we get this sort of scene where the Athena, they can't get close enough to use transporters. So Aki's like, all right, we'll do, I forget what name she said, a coal maneuver or something. Basically, make it fancy. They fly in like below the atmosphere, drop a light beam on. The kids are like, oh wow, Sam's like, this is a flex, and
take me up,
Starfleet.
Yeah, beam me up. And they just, quick transport everyone in, and then they dip out, make their escape. That's where, Durham gets his nose fixed, and the doc and Sam sort of give a hug. And he's like, don't ever do that again, and da-da-da-da. And then he's like, I can go fix your mom. And I found this scene funny. They transport everywhere, but he's like, quick, take her to Deck 2 medic bay. And he picks her up, and he slowly walks her. And the doctor, and they walk down to the elevator to take her down to the Deck 2 medic bay instead of using the transporter system that they use every 5 seconds in this show.
Yeah. In the
but
time
yeah, they're in
of personal
warp.
transporters.
In the time of personal transporters. But yeah, the Athena's in warp, and then it hits like a sub drive torpedo. It's more
before?
like,
because they
I
said
don't know
that
if
the
they got
transporter's down.
A tractor beam.
No,
or-
before that, the transporter went down.
Maybe shortly after they beamed in, they lost their transporters. I don't know. Maybe I didn't catch that, but there's this whole scene in the warp where they're warping through, and they essentially hit like an interstellar mine that knocks them out of the warp. It's like a pulse mine, basically. And while that happens, New Sparaka's sort of fleet pulls up on them and starts like throwing
I
tractor
still
beams
really
all
like
over
the
their
ship, by the
ships.
way.
Well,
You still don't like
I
it?
got great news for you.
No, I do like it. No, I like it a lot.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
Yeah. It's
Um,
Dave that doesn't like it. Doesn't like nacelles that aren't
No.
attached.
Yeah.
well, I don't know. I think it's just like I think it's when it's out of warp drive, that's when the nacelles aren't quite attached. But when it goes to warp drive, it all connects together. I don't know. That's what I've read into it. So yeah, the Athena's got a critical hull breach happening because it's being pulled by 3 separate tractor beams. Aki sort of has this realization if they don't cut loose, everything's gonna blow up. They're the only ones on the bridge, so she says, "Cut it through. Take this, detach the saucer section. We'll leave the atrium behind."
So this is the second time that they've been really like bested by these ships. Like so like this is significantly better technology, right? Seems to me.
It would say so, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it would be fair to say that Starfleet's technology isn't top of the line anymore. Like they're
I
getting
think
by.
it is top of the line. I just don't think. I think outside of the Federation, there's more opportunities to find interesting ways to use technology. So those who are able to innovate are able to kind of best the better technology.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah. I think that's ultimately what Starfleet's always kind of been like. It's top of the line in certain aspects, but when it gets into the deeper space, like their stuff kind of will pale in comparison to sort of their adversaries. So yeah, it requires that Starfleet brain to subsede and subvert that sort of
That's why
extra
the
power.
the Maquis was able to be, so prevalent. It's not like they had better technology. They were just able to, work the edges, and they frustrated the Federation for years.
And that's sort of what this crew is. They're very much like the Maquis in that sense. The saucer section dips away. They leave the atrium and stuff behind, and Nahla's like, he won't get to keep my ship.
I thought they were going to blow
I
it up.
will. Yeah. Thankfully they didn't. But you did have it kind of. It's a callback to the first episode when Newsbrock was like, "I want your warp cores." So he just got her warp cores that were too big to even fit in his own ships that he'd have to chop up or whatever. So
Hey, what do you guys think of the computer voice?
I think it's fine. I'm not against it. I think the computer voice is fine. I'm just glad it's not Stephen Colbert. I was under the impression it was going to be Stephen Colbert the whole time, but it wasn't. He just sort of does like
The
the
announcement.
at the
announcements.
school.
The Dean
Yeah.
announcements.
Yeah.
Anybody else like
Um,
that? I started off not liking it, but I really do actually. You grew on me a lot.
okay. Yeah. Um,
It's
I
definitely like intuitive and interrupts and hey, excuse me, Captain, there's something bad happening. That you're not
yeah.
Mm.
Well, I think that's generally. Here's the thing with that. That would generally be the role of a crew member. If they had crew members, they would be the ones being like, "Oh, hey, Captain, there's this thing not happening," but now you just have it all automated, so it chat GPTs its way into the conversation. And
I mean,
again,
the Discovery computer was like that too.
yeah,
The which?
yeah. Well,
In the future,
right.
the Discovery once
Yes.
they're season 4 and 5, the Discovery.
The
Oh, I
retrofits.
like that computer.
Me too.
I did like that short trek about the computer, and
What was her name again?
that one episode. I
Oh.
forget.
I'll
I
check.
forget.
Yeah, it's been too long since I watched it.
So yeah, basically, Chancellor Aki is basically like, we're gonna get our ship back, head back to Federation space, we'll figure this out. And just about, she was gonna go check on Caleb's mom. Reno's like, actually, hang on, we just got this like reading, and she's like, pull it up on screen, and it turns out that New Sparaka has literally set a mine bubble around Federation space. Although Genesis incorrectly, I would say, describes it as a ring around Federation space. It's like, no, it's a bubble. it's a giant mine bubble that's around space, all of the Federation's in it. And Aki looks at it, and they're like, "Well, if they're going to destroy us, why wouldn't they just do it?" And she's like, "They're not meant to destroy us. They're boxing us in, and we're the only ones on the outside." So she's like, "Okay, we have to try and contact Federation Space, and we got to try and figure this out." And this is our big cliffhanger for the most part of the episode.
But this is fantastic.
Do we think we're getting a Discovery cameo in the last episode?
Thank you.
Because they can jump out of that.
Exactly. We have a ship that has a mycelium network that can pop in and out of this bubble without any trouble. So there better be a Discovery cameo. That's got to be their way in and out.
With Zora. It's Zora, by the way.
Zora, yes.
But what I was going to say, this is brilliant. Like this, he has got them, and that whole explanation of, okay, they brought all the Federation back in to defend, and all the ships are stuck in this bubble now, and we're the only ones out here. It was like he's got them.
Yeah,
it's a great plan.
It reminds me of the self-replicating minefield in Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
It's I had that same thought too. I was like, "Oh, sweet, we're coming back to minefields."
Mm-hmm.
And it's a regular tactic for the Federation to draw in to be defensive. It's like draw back to Earth, draw back to here, draw back to there. They've always done that.
Yeah, it's a trope for Starfleet to do this. So we quick back in the hospital. Doc easy peasy fixes her gut shot lemon squeezy. She realizes she's on a Federation ship and she's kind of terrified. And then all of her trauma and PTSD comes walking through the door, and there's Chancellor Aki.
Yes.
And then we get a quick jump shot. There's the Athena just nestled against this giant, massive minefield of interweb space, just trying to reach anybody in Starfleet, hoping to call them. And we get this just amazing shot. I think it's incredible. I love it so much.
Really cool to see the size.
The Tholian web.
Yep.
Like, wow. That's all of Federation space. You don't get to see this sort of scale in Starfleet often, I find. And that's pretty much it for our screenshots. And that's it for the episode of episode 9. So let's get into a bit of discussion before we jump into Adam's fun facts.
I don't really have yeah.
No, none? All right. Well, then let's get into Adam's fun facts. Since he doesn't have a lot, we'll do them real quick, and then we'll get into a bit of discussion of the episode.
I have none.
Oh, yeah, none. All right. Well, then perfect. There are no fun facts from Adam. There's a 47 reference. We got that.
The 47 reference. We talked about.
And hopefully we get Azora in the next episode. It took 9, just to surmise my quick thoughts on this, and then we'll go around the table. It took us 9 episodes to get to what felt ultimately like a Star Trek episode. Maybe it was due part and parcel because it was directed by the Star Trek icon that is Jonathan Frakes, and he just gets it. I had a lot of fun with this episode watching it. I'm hoping that these 2 episodes are going to set up a lot of fun building block pieces to season 2. That being said, Frakes did say this was his last Star Trek thing that he's foreseeably directing.
No way.
And there seems like there's no green light for anything Star Trek on the market right now, which means it's possible that season 2 could be the last seasons of Starfleet Academy, depending on its reception. Which is a bit of a shame because I was hoping for at least 5, and based on the pacing of this show, those seasons of 3 to 5 could be some very interesting and explored and potentially dark tellings of Star Trek that we may not get at all based off what's happening. So I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on this episode, what we think might happen in the final episode, and what we kind of expect to sort of see in seasons 1 and 2. So with that set up, Ashley, we'll start with you.
I mean, I've already said I really liked this episode, and it felt very Star Trek to me. I don't necessarily agree that it's the only one that's felt Star Trek this season. There have been some other ones that felt very Star Trek to me, depending on like which series it kind of reminded me of. I think I've already said what I think is going to happen next episode. I absolutely believe that Mom will be revealed as a villain, and that Caleb is going to have to choose between Starfleet and his mother and his friends. And I really hope that Jaemeel is right and we get a really cheesy montage, because I love a cheesy montage.
And what are some things you might want to see in season 2?
Can we get a Genesis backstory episode? Like, how come everyone else got one and my girl Genesis didn't get one? I love her.
We
I
were
was
almost
waiting
getting
all
one.
season.
We almost got one.
Yeah, I was waiting all season for her to get one. No dice. She's my favorite. I love her. I want to know what's going on with her dad, and I think her dad is a Badmiral.
Admiral.
I agree. I'm agreeing on that.
Let's get some more Badmirals.
Jameel,
Oh,
your
what
thoughts?
I like this episode, and Ashley, what you said, it is totally painted a picture in my mind of what's happening in the next episode. What I want for season 2 is, I hope that Tarima doesn't die, but she needs a wacky. She needs a wacky Beta Z episode with Jaden being Alexander, and I need something there to make me really invested in this character. But other than that, it's so easy for Starfleet Academy to do a season. I hope they don't do this, where it's just like, it's Aki and the cadets and a pieced together crew as they try to solve the mystery of how to bring down the field so that they can rejoin the Federation. But Braca is close on their tail. I don't want it to just be that. I want it to be still a period of exploration and also education. That's the whole point of this series, and I hope we don't lose sight of that.
Interesting.
Let's get more Tilly in season 2.
Well, they have to
I
connect
agree.
with her again. There's a field in the way.
Yes. Let's see Tilly, instead of just being a counselor, let's see Tilly take them out on a field mission.
Or why can't she just join the cast?
Yeah.
Get Dax in there, get Tilly in there. Let's have some actual adults in the room, you know? Also, I don't want like Discovery bouncing back and forth, being like the Vance says this, and then we got to go back just in case we don't want to get captured, kind of thing. They got to be a little bit smarter than that.
Yeah.
So you're thinking this whole thing might go on for a whole season long. I was envisioning that they're just gonna solve this in one episode and move on.
It's a Smallville episode.
I don't want them to like, if they solve it in one episode, I feel like it'll be rushed through, right?
That's like Smallville.
Kind of extend the story.
Yeah. We might have a 2-hour episode next week.
Maybe. I think it will be solved in the one, just based on the way Discovery worked.
I think it'll solve it in the
a
one.
little bit into the beginning of the first episode of season 1, but then season 2, but then season 2 is going to be its own contained story, and I think it's going to follow that same Discovery formula where it's the big bad for the season, but then they solve it at the end, and then they move on to the new big bad.
Braca cannot die, no matter what. Cannot die.
I got bad news for you. I don't think he's back
paycheck.
next season.
Such a good.
They may be I don't know. They may be hiding, but as far as I am aware, he is not. Paul Giamatti's not back for next season.
Which is fine as long as he doesn't die.
Yeah, who knows? They could just not have announced it. We don't know. Maybe that's a secret.
Allison, what are your thoughts on this episode and what you think might happen in episode 10 and potentially what you'd want to see in season 2?
So I really liked it because I thought that things were coming together finally. And then, but I am worried that they're going to try to rush through the end, because I felt like a lot of it was build up, and not necessarily brought to the storyline. Like it was just more character development or ties to past episodes or series, and not really getting to the story of the bad guys and the good guys in this actual episode. So, or not episode, season. So I'm worried that it'll rush through it. But if it's the way that we're talking, I'm quite impressed with everybody's predictions, and I think it would lead to a great season 2.
All right. You concur with that, Adam? Final thoughts on episode 9 and 10?
Ashley made a great comment. There was one particular episode that was very Star Trek like, was the Jaden focused episode. I thought that was.
I was thinking the original Betazoid episode, when they're there and they have to talk. They're having the whole back and forth, the whole debate on whether they should join the Federation or not.
Yeah, that was good too.
Very TNG to me.
Yeah. Okay, that was good, but mine was the Jaden episode. I thought that was my favorite.
Yeah, I like that one too. Yeah.
Look, we've said everything that I wanted to say as well. I mean, I wouldn't be mad or upset if they did wrap up next week. I hope they just don't, to your point, as Allison, feel rushed around it. So just give us an extra half an hour, the time that it deserves. Because we're not going to see this again until 2027. Let's face it, right? And
that's okay.
Yeah.
So
this is a show that I think would have done really well with the 26 episode format. Like, I think Discovery was fine with 10 episodes a season. This show, I think, should have had more episodes, because then we could have gotten backstory. We could have gotten them actually having lessons. Like, if we're setting a show at the Academy, why aren't we seeing them take any classes? Like, we're at episode 9, they've completed 100 days of classes, and we've seen them work on a play, which wasn't even really a class. That was just counseling in disguise, and a few other little things here and there, but we didn't see them in school.
Yeah, and that's like, that was been one of my biggest complaints, is that like they've essentially been, there's been no, like, even in the background, the majority of the time you see background characters, it's kind of students in the hall, but there's no teachers. There's robots, and then there's teachers, and it seems like this whole school of potentially thousands of students is run by like 6 teachers, and that's kind of been my biggest complaint about this show. Among a handful of things, but I don't even want to phrase it as a complaint, but either way, it's been something that's been noticeable to what is supposed to be a school atmosphere, and I think it's a budgetary thing. It's like they've seemingly spent a lot of their budget on a couple big name actors, the atrium, and then a handful of like costumes and alien and outfits and stuff, that the budget isn't really expanding upon other set pieces and being able to explore life outside the school and stuff like that, or even bring in other cast members that could potentially fill out the background more.
But we've seen new species that we don't get any explanation about.
Yeah. There's a whole like orange topped, carrot topped, green toxic Avenger looking dude that like we know nothing about. We have all the questions. There's the times when there's, even in Seattle, there's those like floating pyres in the sky. Those are all over the place. Don't get any explanation on what those are. I want to know
how the half white, half black guys survived 900 years.
Yeah, the Sharons, or whether the Chevrons.
Like, how are they still around?
They're running around the Enterprise the whole time, actually.
Yeah, but at the end of that episode, they were the last ones.
Yes, they were.
Or they thought they were the last ones. But
right?
still,
like,
that is an interesting story to be told.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
point about being more than 10 episodes is great, because I would tolerate the bad episodes much better if we had 20 or more.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. If we had more real estate, the episodes that we didn't see favorably for the first half of this season would be like, yeah, okay,
No.
that's
Don't be generous
forgivable.
there. Last week was terrible. The week before wasn't
No,
great.
okay.
No.
None of this slander of last week's
was
episode.
great. Last week was great. I loved last week's episode.
You weren't here
If
Last week was
we-
fantastic.
If we had to judge Next Generation based on their first 10 episodes, it wouldn't even do as well as this show.
Okay, but we didn't. and
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, we got so much more of it, so we were more willing to tolerate the bad episodes.
yes,
And then you look back on it, to those bad episodes, with this nostalgia, because you know the great episodes that were mixed in with it.
I don't remember Mike liking last week's episode. Like, he just said last week's episode was great, and I don't think he made those comments last week. I think to go back and look now.
I don't remember Mike making comments last week, but all right. Well, let's hop into the rankings for this. Let's wrap this episode up. We've been here for a bit now. We're gonna head over to the scoreboard. Our own Captain Dave, who's been hard pressed to like this show for most of the season, gave this one a rousing 9.5. He also gave Kids These Days a 9.5.
Mike, I will play the tape.
Mike, he's looking it up. He's looking it up. Jaemeel, what is your score for the 300th night?
What does it say for last week's?
Your last week's score for Life of the Stars, episode 8, was
9.5.
9.5.
Yes, rightfully so.
Where's I here last week? Yes, I was.
You were here last week, and I was flabbergasted when I listened to last week's. I'm gonna give this. I'll give it a 9.
Giving it a 9. Excellent. And Ashley, you gave last week's episode a 9.0. What are you giving the 300th night?
I'll give this one a 9.5.
9.5. All right. That score so far. Allison, we didn't get your score for last week's episode, so let's start with that. What did you think
last
of the Life of the Stars?
So last week I would say a 7. I found it pretty boring and hard to get through. But during the second watched it with my husband, and we talked about more of the backstory. And I was like, okay, I get that aspect of it. So I think people who are more invested in doctor stories might have felt a lot more invested in this episode. So, but for me, it's a 7. And this week I'm going to say 8.5. It was really good. I really enjoyed it.
All right. Jody gave last week's episode a 3. He did not seemingly enjoy that episode. I don't know what's wrong with Jody. Apparently, he has no heart. He apparently did not like Voyager. I don't know.
Doesn't like Star Trek.
Maybe he just doesn't like Voyager.
Ashley, what'd you do?
Well, I just so enjoyed his reaction to when I said he didn't like Klingons.
Mike
I've
almost
said
said,
that
"Yes,
to
I
his
did.
face
Play
before,
the
though.
tape."
I've said that to his face before, where I've said, "I don't think you actually like Star Trek."
Oh, right. I remember Mike saying that, and I go, okay, now I remember.
Yeah.
Pardon me, Mike,
Last
you were
week's
right.
episode
You
made
didn't
him
like
ugly
that
cry. Yeah, me and Mike were ugly crying last week's episode. I'm sure Jody had a roaring score for this episode. He's been very high about Starfleet Academy this whole time. Probably gives it an 8, if I had to guess.
I bet you it's a 6.
Adam, what was your score for this
just for the
this
record,
week's?
I do have a heart. I just found it so slow and so boring last week. Gosh. Anyway, I will give this one an 8.
I was giving this one an 8. All right. I was pretty high on this episode. Frakes always gets high points for me. I'm pretty much up there with Dave, and I have a feeling like this is going to be the best episode of this season, so I'm giving this one a 10. This gets a 10 for me.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah. I had fun with this episode. I base this purely on this season alone. And I think this is the best episode of the season.
Because you didn't get to see the atrium.
Well, yeah, they ditched the atrium. They managed to tell a cohesive story. We got a sweet marketplace set up. There was a continuation of all the stuff that made me intrigued in the story in the first place, and a lot of payoff on that, with just enough of an interesting cliffhanger at the end that I want to see more. And there was and Jet Reno is funny. Sam 2.0 is an upgrade in the character. I'm loving like this grounded Sam. And their ability to cut through the bullshit tape of the other characters and just like, hey guys, I love that about that. So yeah, this is the best episode. I have a feeling like next week's episode is not going to match my expectations of what it could be. I don't know. It's just every time I've watched Star Trek, it always seems like, at least in the latest stuff, the episode before the season finale is better than the season finale. The season finale is like everything's wrapped up in the first act, and then you get a meandering middle, and then maybe a little cliffhanger at the end if you're lucky. At least based off of Strange New Worlds. Just put her in the fridge, says Adam.
Is the doctor going to be like, not again, trapped on the other side of something? It's like, I guess we got to find a way back home.
Mike says there's action heart, a cliffhanger. Hell yes, it was a 10, although I miss Thok. I think we all miss Laura Thok. Hopefully she comes back with vengeance next episode. I can take these scores down. Yeah.
I have high hopes. I really just don't want to set back.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Yeah. But again, it depends on what they got in plan for season 2, since they've essentially wrapped making season 2, I believe, or they're wrapping season 2.
They just wrapped it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because we're going to finish this off. We're more than likely going to get the final season of Strange New Worlds, or season
2.
There's 2 seasons left. Okay, so yeah, so we're probably going to get that in like October. Then we get Starfleet Academy Season 2 in January, and then the remaining Strange New World, say maybe March, October the following year. And then we may not have any Star Trek for some time because it's all up in, IP, CEO, IP purchasing limbo hell.
Star Trek starts premiering in 2028 on HBO. Was it Vince Gilligan makes his Star Trek new show?
If Vince Gilligan, Jaemeel, don't even tease me like that. If you gave me a Vince Gilligan, I've
broken him.
All right, let's wrap now. Who's got control?
Sorry. That would be the greatest thing ever. I'm sorry. That would be the greatest. It was just I'm a biggest. I love it. That would be. Do it. Make it happen. That's the greatest Star Trek ever.
I would turn it to
lies.
Episodes of 2.
Lies. Pluribus is an amazing show, and you're kidding yourself if you haven't watched it. Speaking of amazing shows to watch, we've got things in the books. I think next Monday we're doing some more Star Trek TNG reviewing. We recently did this past Monday. It was the most toys. The Tin Man was the week before, and I believe the next episode is Sarek. Yeah, little Sarek action. So
I love that.
If you love TNG. And you can check out other things like over at Super Mater Brothers. They're doing Survivor 50th, covering episodes like Therapy, Carousels. A little recap and analysis of that. I'm still on the search and hunt for anybody that knows anything about Babylon 5 to come, please, for the love of God, do trivial debates with me before I die and rot in a corpse in a closet. I can't find anybody. You know one thing?
One thing. Dave
I will
Mater
let you.
Chris, at this point, someone could start watching Babylon 5, and by the time you do this episode, they will be able to finish it.
And you know what?
Well,
It
they
might
won't.
just have to be
They'll
the
get into it
case.
and go, this is the most boring show ever. I can't watch it.
I'm honestly I'm gonna conscript Colin Canning and have him bullshit anything he can about Babylon 5 and just make the episode hilarious. I don't know. I'm getting help me, please.
Someone
Anyway,
just read
um,
The other night on the Next Generation on rewatch, we were talking about it was Babylon 5 stands for the 5 people that like it.
and I found 3 of them.
Yes.
I need a 4th. With that being said, I think that's all for us here at Live Long and Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us for a brief but somewhat lengthy review of episode 9, the 300th night. Hopefully it didn't take us 300 nights to get through it all, but we'll see. We'll be back in 7 days, though, to talk about episode 10. I'm not going to be the host. You're going to get our own Captain Dave Mater coming in with a hot script from Chat Geppetto himself. You'll be able to find us here at Live Long and Podcast. Leave your comments and all those things. I'm going to hit us with a little outro audio. You know it. And it's right here. Any minute now. So many sorry, my thing's slow. Wait, there it is. Wait, here it is. Wait, it didn't. Wait, there it is.
Great. Glitter vomit. We'll sober up now.
It is all over my trousers.
Gross.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And take a peek into the darkness with Heard Noise, Must Investigate with Michael Chan. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.